Hello and welcome to the video and to my channel. Now today I'm going to be talking about how you can invest in Pokemon cards sensibly. That's right, we're going to be looking at some ways that you can ensure that you make some sound investments for the future and actually get a return on the money that you put into the hobby. Now these are some of the things that I've learned in my several years of investing in Pokemon. And I'd just like to share with you them here today. I think they'll be really useful to new investors or even to people who have been investing for some time. We can always get caught up in investing. So I would just like to share them with you now. So the first and foremost tip that I can give is always set a budget. Now you can set yourself a daily budget, a weekly budget, or even a monthly budget. And this budget should be realistic. It should obviously be affordable to you and be from your disposable income. So, this shouldn't be the kind of money that you may need to pay your bills, your food, or any other expenses that you have to pay each month. And it should also be monitored and tracked. Now, I've pulled together a quick sample of the kind of tracking sheet that I use here. Very, very basic. I've used Excel to do so. But you can do something very, very similar. And what I've done here is I've just entered 3 different purchases that I actually made this month. I've got the purchase price in there and the purchase date. I've got a cost of the product at £277. If you're in the US, that would be slightly more. My budget for this month is £500. So you can see that I've spent £223 and I have £277 left to spend in 10 days, which should be fun. But I'll only spend that if I spot a bargain or something I think has investment opportunity. You don't have to spend that money. This is a simple Excel you can set up. It's set up with formulas. There's plenty of videos that can show you how to set up an Excel sheet with formulas. And I'll just add new products and cards to this list and I will get that figure presented back to me. And it just keeps me aware of what I'm spending, and I would really recommend that you do the same thing. The second tip, it relates back to your budget really, and it's about stopping the temptation to always buy more. Now, some of you listening may not have this issue, but for me, I could just keep going, I could keep spending, and a lot of that has to do with temptation. So if you've exceeded your budget, then you might have to be quite careful with what you expose yourself to, and unfortunately that may mean stop watching Pokemon content. It could be you don't watch specific types of content like flipping content or investment content, and I would actually recommend that you do something else outside of Pokemon completely different. It could be watching a film. If you have certain triggers, if you go on to eBay at certain times, then do something in that time that replaces it, and it will just stop you having that mindset of you need to buy something else. At the same time, you may want to leave your phone away from you. You may not want to go on eBay or maybe even remove the app from your phone, and so you can only access eBay from your desktop. Those kind of things. Putting those kind of boundaries to stop you just constantly looking at the listings and being tempted into making a purchase. And at the same time, you may want to actually stop watching items or even remove any alerts that could make you actually want to make a purchase beyond your budget or beyond what you're kind of comfortable in doing. And there's many different email marketing lists. If you've purchased a product from a specific company in the past, then chances are you'll be on their email marketing list and they will send you notifications of when they have new stock, when prices have gone down or changed, or they're running a new promotion, those kind of things. You might want to take yourself off of them if you hit your budget. Now the third tip I would give is to be patient and think long term. And it's a really good idea that you study the market and understand all of the cards that you are looking to buy and to invest in. Not only from a historical perspective, but their current price and any previous market value that they've already held in the past. And the reason why you want to do this is you want to make sound investments that are backed by as much data as possible. You don't want to just make a purchase on a whim, or you may see a listing that you think is a great deal. It could be a first edition, for instance, and you might think, well, it's a first edition, it's an automatic, easy long-term investment opportunity. Well, that's not always the case. As you know, there are products that are likely to increase. Some may not ever do so. So yeah, study the market and learn about specific cards, and be willing to watch an item and wait and give yourself that opportunity to research into it further. There's plenty of amazing resources out there that are very credible. You've got your likes of your TCG Player, Pokemon Price, that has the PSA prices, and even eBay sold listings. So sometimes a listing will, especially if you look at buy it now, recently listed or new listings, you'll see an offer, or you'll see a new listing that's very, very tempting, and you may want to get that deal before you miss it. But most of the time, it's better to wait and be patient and just do that extra little bit of research before you pull the trigger. And because of that, you need to be willing that you may lose a card. They may go very, very quickly to people who already have that kind of knowledge and understanding, or have already put in that research. But that is part of the game, and if my experience has said anything or show me anything, it's that cards will always re-enter the market at a certain point, and sometimes they come on for a lot less, sometimes more, and sometimes you miss the opportunity. But the best thing you can do is be patient. If you've got a budget, is think about your investments. Don't burn through your budget too quickly, and just make sure that you're making a purchase for the right decisions, rather than the fear mentality of you're going to miss out. 4, use a debit card. Now this is quite an interesting one. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but what I am looking to give you here is just the idea that you should work with your own money that you already have. So if you're on eBay, you're probably using PayPal, or you may be tied to your bank account. But what is helpful here is that you are looking to invest your own money and not credit. If you're using credit, of course, it's not your money. It's much easier to justify it in your own mind, because you can always pay it back later. But that always comes at the cost of potential interest. So you may even be paying back more money in the long term. You might not be able to repay it. You can get yourself in a real tricky situation. So always look to use money that you currently have, and that have either set aside for investing, or is, as I said earlier, your disposable income, or a bit of play money that you'd normally spend on going out, or on something else that you kind of enjoy. Here's an interesting one, and I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with this one, but for me, I have to steer clear of auctions, because of the risk of impulsive purchases and rash decisions. And I've done this numerous times, where I've bought something, the fear of missing out. It seems like an amazing price. I hadn't done my due diligence, and I bought something for more than what I could have got, for on a buy it now listing. So just consider that auctions, they do go both ways. Some will sell for less than the market value, the current card market value or product market value, and some will go for more. And it tends to work out around 10 to 20% either way. Sometimes obviously they sell for the market price as well, or the exact price that would be expected. But either way, auctions are a little bit of a risk. So I would enter them with caution. As I say, this is my personal opinion and my experiences. But if you do want to enter auctions, then you have to have the ability to walk away beyond your final price, and this is very hard to do. You can always justify adding a little bit more, and you always think that the other bidder is not going to go in for an extra or a higher price, and they end up doing it, and it is just a bit of a tricky situation, especially if you're on a budget. So generally, buy it now listings, or where making a deal with a buyer directly, as opposed to getting stuck in an auction. And the last one is less about money management and more about just investment. Spread your risk if you can. There's some products that are going to go up 10%, 20%, 100%, maybe even if you're lucky, 200, 300%. Obviously they're more rare. But there are also cards that are going to go the other way, or things have been very interesting over the last year with everything that's going on in the world. The market has been very up and down, and there's obviously talk of a crash coming in Pokemon in general. So one of the best things you can do is spread your risk. So try not to invest in the same type of either card or product or even a set. As much as you can spread your risk, the better. And granted, that is going to mean that you might not potentially make as much money as you'd hoped, but what it does mean is that you should have a positive return on your investment, rather than either a potential negative return on your investment, or you lose money, or that you just miss the boat entirely and you don't ever make any money. So obviously this has a lot to do with knowledge and experience, but at the same time, there's no guarantees that anything is going to go up long term, especially to the kind of levels that we've seen over the last 5, 10, 15 years. The second one, again, it's my opinion. You might disagree, but I would try not to follow the advice of others for particular cards. If you see somebody recommending that you buy specific cards, then chances are, other people are going to see it as well. They're going to get on the card, and before you know it, the prices are being driven up, and that's prices that are driven by hype rather than real sound or solid data and decision making. So I would actually instead look at the data. So use those resources, look at sold listings, and do what you can to think about what might be worth more in the future based on either supply or that could just have great future potential. So it could be something like a particular card feature. It could look amazing. It could be one of the favorite cards, your Charizards, your Mewtwo's, those kind of things. Just look out for those as well and think about it from that perspective. Think long term. If you're investing, of course you can invest for a couple of months. You can invest, investment goals change, and you may even need to get your money out at some point. But the longer term that you can think about this, the better, because it's going to ensure that you, when the market does perhaps change or when prices adjust, it enables you to not panic. And if you make the right purchases, you should make, and you spread your risk, then you should make a positive return on investment long term. This is 5, 10, sometimes 15, 20 years. This is all about the long term game. And the last point, and it's just a general observation, doesn't always apply to every card. It might not be, you have to do your own due diligence, but promo cards are generally good opportunities. I've made quite a bit of money on particular promo cards with quick flipping, and I've also got a couple that I'm holding on to long term, especially some of the Pikachu promo cards. These are really, really good for the most part. So look for those kind of cards where there could be a limit on supply in the future, or there's going to be a high demand because the kids of today that are opening these packs are going to want them in 20, 15, 20, 30 years, that kind of thing. So I hope these tips were useful. As I say, these are just my personal opinions and experiences. If you did like this video or you found it useful, then I would appreciate you liking and commenting down below. It'd be good to hear your thoughts, your feedback on some of the recommendations I've given here today. And do subscribe if you're interested in, watching more content like this, or any content I put out on Pokemon trading, investment, collecting, or even flipping. And I hope you have an excellent day.